Hi, friends. It's a pleasure to be with you again in another Kumi session this week. Today we're going to, it's the anniversary of the Kairos document, and we're pleased to be with Nassar. We're helping people still joining the meeting. But in the meanwhile, if you haven't already received the news, some of you are aware of one of our co-founders, Samia Khouri. Her grandson was released yesterday. Not really released, but he's doing like, he's at home or home prison, house arrest. So that means he cannot leave the house without a permission from the Israeli police. His court will be on the 12th, scheduled to be on the 12th of December. So he is still practically under arrest. I mean, there has been a number of videos, very moving videos about his release and how his family and his classmates and his friends welcomed him. So it's good. It gives us some comfort that he's with his family, especially during this winter season. But today hasn't also been an easy day in Palestine. If you're following the news, 5 people got killed today by the Israeli army. 2 from Birzeit University and actually 2 brothers. So it's a very sad day in the Ramallah area specifically, but in all of Palestine. 5 young people have been shot and killed during demonstrations. Violence, unfortunately, continues to be on the rise, especially from settlers. So we're not living in easy times here in Palestine. So we appreciate people to keep holding us, the people in Palestine and Israel, in your prayers. And I think we're going to allow some more discussion during the questions and answers that people would like to share more. But we'd like to start the session. And it has been the tradition is to ask the speaker to introduce herself. But before you introduce yourself, I just want to remind you that this session is being recorded and is also being shared on the Kumi page, Facebook page. So if you don't want your picture to appear, please turn off your camera feed. Since we're over 50 people as of now, and we expect to grow a little bit more, you can write your questions in the chat and I will ask them to Mais. But let's start with Mais. Could you please introduce yourself, Mais?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mais Nassar, and I work as a project coordinator for Kairos, Palestine. Shall I continue, Omar?
But a little bit more, Mais. You're the energy behind many of the things that Kairos is doing. So we'd like to know a little bit more about Mais before we know about the Kairos document. I think it's worth for people to meet you. So you're from Bethlehem?
I'm from Beit Jala, actually. I was born and lived all my life in Beit Jala. More about me, what can I share? Well, my job with Kairos Palestine isn't the only job that I do. I'm a freelancer. I work as a project manager with other organizations. One of my jobs was actually, because I left it, but it was something very dear to me, was with a school for hearing impaired children in Palestine. I used to manage their projects, and I was really passionate about the work they do because the kids that the school helped, like no one really cared about this segment of the society, and it was a really dear work to me, but I couldn't go on with this work, so I left it. but I fulfill other positions besides my work at Kairos, Palestine. Yeah, this is something about me worth sharing.
Yes, and I mean, it is Beit Jala is also, although Bethlehem is very famous, but Beit Jala in Palestine is also very famous. I mean, it's for Saint Nicholas. Santa has a tradition also being in Beit Jala. Beit Jala is very famous for its the best olive oil in Palestine is actually from Beit Jala. And this is why
Yes.
it gets sold like for triple the price of other olive oils.
We take pride in that. Yes.
Yes. And when it snows during winter season, Beit Jala is the luckiest. Beit Sahura and Bethlehem don't get as much or don't get even any snow, while Beit Jala gets snow. So Beit Jala is famous for many things.
Yes, true.
But actually, my grandmother is originally from Beit Jala, from Dar Abu Dayy, the mother of my father. So somehow we could be related, me and Mais. But Mais were also connected through the Kairos document, because I also serve on the steering committee of Kairos, Palestine, which we will be listening more from Mais. So Mais, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Omar. Yes, I think maybe most of you are familiar with Kairos, Palestine. For those of you who don't know about Kairos, Palestine, Kairos, Palestine is the most extensive Palestinian Christian ecumenical non-violent movement, which is based on the Kairos, Palestine document, Moment of Truth, launched in 2009 by a group of lay people, church leaders from various denominations and Palestinian Christians who for the first time spoke with a single voice on the Palestinian struggle. The document affirms that the Palestinian Christians are part of the Palestinian nation and advocates for ending of the Israeli occupation and achieving a just solution to the struggle. More about the document: it was embraced by the Christian community. It was signed by all historically recognized Palestinian Christian organizations, and it was endorsed by the heads of churches in Jerusalem. The document also was translated to 22 languages and is available on the Kairos Palestine website, which I can circulate to you all. The document requests the solidarity of the international community in standing beside the Palestinian people who have faced oppression, displacement, and clear apartheid for more than 7 decades, and in bringing an end to the occupation. Although it has created controversy in some churches, it has been a source of revelation for many struggling to address or respond to the Palestinian struggle. And what started as a local ecumenical document soon became an international movement. It's worth mentioning also that the document also holds a clear position to nonviolent resistance, being a right and a duty for all Palestinians and more so for Christians. So Kairos Palestine started as a small movement, but then influenced a bigger international movement called the Global Kairos for Justice Coalition, which is a coalition of concerned churches, Christians from different churches, church denominations, church-related organizations, and also other faith-based organizations. It was all influenced by the Kairos Palestine document, and it's committed to nonviolent means, calling for ending the Israeli occupation and advocating for the right of self-determination of the Palestinian people and peace with justice for all people in the Holy Land. The coalition has members from all over the globe. Around more than 35 countries are part of the coalition, from Asia, Africa, Australia, Europe, Latin America, North America, and in Palestine. And it is this international movement is led by a committee in which Kairos Palestine plays a significant role. It provides information, it develops theological and political rhetoric, and it also creates activities that take into consideration the context of each country. Also, one of the many activities of the coalition members is to develop resources that can be used by members across all countries to raise awareness, to inform members, and to call on churches, people, and organizations to act justly and firmly to support Palestinians. And one of the many works of the Global Kairos for Justice members is a publication called A Cry for Hope, a Call to Decisive Action, which was actually worked on and published during the coronavirus pandemic and the global lockdown. Lots of members from across the globe worked on producing this important document, and it was launched in July 2020. It addressed Christians, churches, and ecumenical institutions around the world. And it is a call for decisive action in the struggle to end the oppression of the Palestinian people, which asked its supporters to support the signature campaign accompanying the Cry for Hope document. The document also named collusion with or silence about the Israeli occupation as a sin, and identifies the current realities as a condition for apartheid. The Cry for Hope documents, it clearly describes 7 actions to end the oppression of the Palestinian people. And implicit in the document is a criticism of Christian churches who haven't spoken clearly and forcefully about the plight of their Palestinian sisters and brothers, and which recommends them to engage in boycotting and divesting of Israel. Till now, the document was translated to 13 languages and signed by more than 22,436 supporters who have endorsed the Cry for Hope signature campaign. Also, I can circulate the Cry for Hope document for your information and for your endorsement if you would like to sign it. Another important publication of Kairos Palestine and the Global Kairos Coalition it has created is the most recent one, and the most prominent one is a document called Dossier on Israeli Apartheid. This dossier the document called Dossier on Israeli Apartheid, a pressing call to churches around the world. It's a theological study, actually, which explains why Palestinians and a growing number of churches and human rights organizations...
Yes? Sorry to interrupt. You're a very fast speaker, and some people are finding it. Could you please just take your time?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, if there's any question after I speak, please let me know.
Okay, but
I will try to slow down.
Some people, not everybody here, it's English is their first language, and they would like to. I mean, it'll be easier to follow. So thank you.
Okay, no problem, Omar, and I apologize for that. So I was just talking about the recently published Cry for Dossier on Israeli Apartheid, which we launched 2 years after the Cry for Hope document. We launched it in July 2022, and perhaps it's the most prominent study as it influenced the 11th General Assembly of the World Council of Churches recent resolution, which clearly called for the WCC to examine, discuss, and discern the implications of the recent report by B'Tselem, by Human Rights Watch, and by Amnesty International, and for its governing bodies to respond appropriately. I'm quoting this sentence from the statement of the WCC, which it launched in early September after the end of the General Assembly. I talked about 2 publications of Kairos Palestine and Global Kairos for Justice Coalition, but with regards to the work of Kairos Palestine locally, unfortunately for the last 2 years, not much work, or not as much as we want, has been done on the ground due to the global pandemic and due to restrictions on funding. But Kairos Palestine board members are always vocal about issues which relate to the Palestinian struggle. We continuously publish position statements and publications on issues that portray or affect Palestinians and Palestinian Christians. For example, every Christmas and every Easter, we publish Christmas and Easter alert. And the purpose of these publications is to develop a conscious awareness with political background that can be used in parishes, that can be used in church communities, in prayer groups, as well as in Palestine. The alert sheds light every year. We have a different topic, but it's always topics that are on issues happening in Palestine. And we ask the readers to commit to doing several actions which aims to achieve justice for Palestinians. Also, Kairos Palestine conducts its annual conference every year. So for 10 years, we've been having the Kairos conference. But unfortunately, for the last 2 years, we couldn't have a face-to-face conference. We had one Zoom local Arabic conference, but fortunately this year we were able to conduct our 13th anniversary international conference, which took place on last Friday, not the last, the before one, November 18th, followed by a Global Kairos for Justice Coalition meeting. This year's conference was about, the theme of it was the people, the church, and resisting occupation, and it hosted several local and international speakers, and it shed lights on the practices of Israeli apartheid against the Palestinian people in all areas of Palestine, West Bank, Gaza, Jerusalem, and the 1948 cities. Also, it addressed the issue of the shrinking space, the attack on the civil society organizations, and also the role of the global church in resisting the injustice and achieving justice for Palestinians. The conference was attended by a large number of members of the Global Kairos for Justice Coalition, as well as locals, representatives of churches, many Palestinian clergy, municipal councils, and local civil society organizations. And it produced a statement calling for support of the struggle of the Palestinian people and the right to freedom and self-determination, which will be Kairos Palestine Christmas alert this year. And it will be ready by the end of this week, and we can circulate it and make it available to all of you if you would like. This is just a glimpse of Kairos Palestine and the coalition which came out of it, and the work we do on the local and the international level. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Mais. When we spoke with Mais in the beginning, she was worried. She said, "I don't have anything to share more than 10 minutes. I think you can share for like could have a full hour of presentation." But
how long did I take? 10, 20? No, maybe 10.
I mean, I think it could have easily been half an hour. But Mais, there are already a number of questions and discussions. We've already shared the information in the newsletter that we've sent out about the Kairos document and the Cry for Hope, but we're also including them now in the chat. Thank you, Ryan, for doing this. I just want to ask you, you studied in Bethlehem University. You finished your. Where did you finish your studies?
Yes, I studied at accounting, actually, at Bethlehem University, so a bit far from the field I'm working in. I work a bit in accounting, then I pursued a master's in actually Budapest, Hungary. I did a master's in business administration. And after that, I came back to Palestine and have been working in project management since then.
So, as a younger person here growing up in Palestine, why do you think we need to do so much advocacy for something so simple, to have the churches condemn a military occupation and the dispossession of a people? That's your, I mean, I'm just interested in your opinion.
Again, Omar, why do we have to do?
Yes, in your opinion, how do you reflect that we as Palestinian Christians, we need to do so much advocacy so that the churches speak against the injustice that is happening in Palestine? Do you find this frustrating?
A lot as a youth, a lot. It's, I mean, our reality is very obvious, and still we have to constantly raise awareness and talk about our living conditions, and it's yeah, it's frustrating. It's but you need to keep doing that, honestly, you know. Living here, I mean, it's a sort of resistance to continuously talk about these issues. I mean, it's a duty for me as a youth to talk about this, you know. So yeah, it is frustrating, yes, but it's a duty, and I'm glad to advocate for that.
Some people are asking if you're related to Dawood from Tent of Nations.
No, I am not. No, I'm not. But like here in Palestine, lots of families carry the same family name, so, but it doesn't have to necessarily be that you are related to this person.
Some people said that during the Kairos conference, there was everyone allowed to get into the country, or there was problems for some of the participants?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yes. How many participants were denied entry? Maybe 6. So 3 from Sri Lanka were denied a visa, although their tickets were booked and all their arrangements were made. But then, like a day prior to the travel, they still haven't heard on their visas, so we had to cancel their tickets because they weren't issued or granted a visa. One from Swaziland, actually, when he arrived to Ben Gurion Airport, he was denied entry, and he was put on a plane and sent back to Swaziland. And also another one from India, another two from India actually were denied a visa to Israel, so they couldn't be with us. So yeah, lots of friends and supporters and activists were denied entrance, unfortunately.
There's a specific question on where does the Pope, who leads one of the biggest churches, or the biggest church, the Catholic Church, do we know what is his position on Palestine?
As Kairos Palestine, no, we don't know, actually. No, he hasn't been vocal on issues which relate to Palestine, I would say.
Although the Catholic Church does do some advocacy work through some of the Catholic organizations like Saint Eve, and I mean, it's local initiatives, but mainly the Vatican has been very silent to a certain extent. I don't claim to be an expert on this.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, it's one of the participants said that the Pope recognized Palestine as a state in 2014. So I mean, it's yes, definitely within the position with having Patriarch Michel Sabbah, and his work within the Catholic Church has really helped to bring closer relations with the Catholic Church, but not as much as we'd hope to hear. I speak on
True.
So could you tell us, do you know about, I mean, it's the term apartheid is becoming now commonly used when it comes to describe the situation in Palestine and Israel. How did the conference, how did you feel the participants, do they, I mean, do they find that, did they report that there's problems using apartheid in their own contexts? So many people came from different countries, or people are just accepting it around the world?
No, there is still hesitance actually to use the word apartheid. There is a lot of fear to use this term, I would say, and lots of members like asked for like a mechanism or some sort of way to clearly state that and not be accused of being anti-Semitic, because like this is what they face if they use this terminology. They get accused of being anti-Semitic. So they said that we need to have a proper orientation on how to use this terminology. But lots of no, I would say there's a lot of encouragement to use this term, but they need to be equipped with more information on how to respond to accusations.
A mutual friend of many of us, Maria Landi, she says in the chat that she translated it into Spanish. Is it on
That's
the website?
true.
How many different languages do we have?
It's the dossier on Israeli apartheid was translated to French and German and Spanish. Yeah, we put the German and French translation, but haven't had a chance to put the Spanish. There is no reason behind that. It's just that the conference took all our time lately, and little work has been done on other aspects, but it will be available on the website within this week. I will make sure to put it on the website.
And I think it is going to be, it is, I know some people are working on translating it to Italian. Have you received it or not yet?
No, not yet. I
The
remember.
Italian version, did you get it?
Not yet. Not yet, Amr. You connected us, me to the person who's supposed to do the translation, but I still haven't received it yet. No.
So how do you get attacks as Kairos from Christian Zionist movements around the world, especially in the US?
Of course, but also we're starting to get a lot of support from churches in the US. For example, the UCC, the Global Ministries Church, have spoken boldly about the issue of apartheid and have endorsed like the Cry for Hope document. And yeah, this gives us hope that, you know, churches in the US are being more vocal about the Palestinian reality. So yes, we do get attacks, but yeah, I mean, the work we do through Global Kairos for Justice Coalition members, and we have a lot of members in the US who do great advocacy work. I mean, we're raising more awareness now about what's actually happening, and that's what matters.
How many countries participated in the conference? Somebody is asking.
How many countries?
Yes, participated in the conference, in the Kairos conference.
I mean, we had something like 70 more than 70. No, I would say 90 international participants. I mean, some of them live here, but also like the majority have like come specifically from abroad to attend our conference. I don't have an exact count of the nationalities, but for example, we had participants from South Africa, we had participants from India, from the Philippines, from Norway, from Denmark, from the US, from the UK, where else? I mean, lots of countries in Europe. We would have liked to have more countries from the global south. We had participants from Brazil, from Argentina. Yes, I mean, these are most of the countries who attended the conference, yeah.
Thank you, Mais. Some people are saying that it's when we use apartheid, it becomes counterproductive. It creates more problems. And they say it's better to avoid using it when we're speaking about Palestine. And some people say, no, we need to be bold and speak about it. What's your opinion as Mais or as Kairos?
I mean, I understand the controversy, but I mean, in Kairos, Palestine, and also as Mais, no, I prefer to use this terminology. It's what's happening. You know, we cannot deny that. So can you deny apartheid in South Africa? No, you cannot. So this is what's happening in Palestine, and I mean, no, I call for using for calling things by its name. It's apartheid, what's happening, and we should address it and call it apartheid.
As a young person, do you think most young people want to continue the struggle in Palestine, or want to give up and immigrate, or find a different solution?
I would say the tendency is to find work elsewhere and pursue a life which is easier. I can relate because it's a struggle to find a job here. It's a struggle to have a normal life here as a youth. It's a struggle on lots of aspects of our lives as Palestinians. So, I mean, I would understand if they do that, but it's a matter of choice, you know, if you belong to this land and if you want to contribute and do more for Palestine, then you should resist. You should always try to find hope and encouragement in the small things possible. Yeah, that's what drives me as Mais, you know. But I mean, a sense you should really belong to this land and love this land, so to be able to stay.
To pay the price, it's proving every day it's a very costly, it continues to be a very costly price. People want to remain and find a future in the country.
True, very true.
Yes, it's I mean, it's very difficult for steadfastness without the support of without having a job, without having a community to support you.
True. And I'm lucky to have that, but not lots of people are privileged to have the support they need. So I would totally understand.
So, Mais, you do multiple jobs in Bethlehem at the moment. So,
yes,
a part of Cairo, you're working with who?
I'm actually working with an organization called Bethlehem Development Foundation. as a projects officer. Yeah, and we try to do lots of projects to create some kind of sustainable economic growth for the Bethlehem Governorate through projects in different sectors, energy, waste management, public health, education, so on multiple domains. And yeah, I support them with their projects.
And when you interact with people outside the church circles, do you feel people are more positive or less positive?
You mean locals?
Yes. Do you see the difference between the faith communities, like working with Kairos, and people who are not?
I mean, you want me to be honest in that?
Yes, yes, of course.
I mean, it's no, I mean, not lots of people are optimistic here. So yes, there's an overall like pessimist vibe, I would say, which sucks your energy a lot. Yeah, this is what I have noticed.
There are a few mice have 3 wishes. What are your wishes? Yes, we have a genie in the meeting that will grant you the 3 wishes.
So if I have 3 wishes, what do I have? What are they?
No, you have more than 3 wishes, but like, what would be your top wishes? If you want, I can help. I know a number of wishes too.
I mean, my most obvious wish is just to have a normal life, I would say, in Palestine. So, which leads me to wish for peace for this land, you know, for less suffering, for a better future, for hope. So, yeah. Okay, these are 2 wishes. I don't have a third wish. These are the wishes that I have right now, which leads to broader wishes, I would say. But yeah, peace of mind, I would say. This is also important.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I was just reading a post from one of the young people, and she said, and she was writing like she doesn't want to be a hero for anybody else. She doesn't want anybody to praise her steadfastness in Palestine. She wants an easy life, and she wants the freedom to be. And this is, I mean, it is. It's like we hear more people echoing it. It's like they feel that they need to be heroes and they need to show that they need to resist empire and so on. And people just want a normal life. They don't want to be arrested. They don't want to be shot. They don't want to have like it's walk into funerals anymore. People are tired. However, it's not. I wish it was easy. It's. I mean, it is. It's. We're facing powers, and powers don't want. I mean, it is. It's. They're greedy and they're demanding stuff. So I mean, there's no choice. We all have to fight back. I mean, it is. It's unjust systems. I wish we. It's. I wish if life was easier, but it's not. That's the reality.
Very true.
What is the best? What's the most thing that you like in Bethlehem or Beit Jala or Beit Sahur? When I mention Bethlehem, I mean the whole area. Sorry, yeah, it is.
What's the most thing that I like? I mean, it doesn't relate. It sort of relates to Bethlehem, but I like that I have a network of people who support me and who always encourage me and motivate me. And like, this is one of the things, one of the most important things which make me stay here. Yeah, I mean, my family, my friends, the support I get it's from them are really important to me. So yeah, that's it. No, that's not it, but that's what I can think of right now, or the most obvious thing to me right now.
So yes, I'm just reading most of the questions that are either sent in the chat or are sent to me personally. So I'm not filled with questions. So so how is Bethlehem during this Christmas season as we're starting Advent, Mace?
Very busy, very busy.
That's a good thing.
Very busy, very crowded. It's good because Bethlehem relies on tourism and pilgrimage for it to survive, and we're happy to have people here. It feels more alive actually after 2 years of a lockdown. So yeah, it's a nice atmosphere to be here. There will be a Christmas tree lighting, I think, this weekend. And yeah, lots of activities are happening on the ground.
Nice. I saw a number of people who have raised their hands. They want to ask something. Since we've went through most of the questions, let's see what. So here's a question. What are the downsides of talking about apartheid re-Palestine? It seems very similar to South Africa, which pioneered BDS activism and was successfully changed. So it's more like a comment than a question. So yes, we have a number of, so I'm going to open it up for 2 questions or 3 questions. So Darrell, you wanted to ask a question? You can unmute yourself, or no? You can unmute, so it's okay. You don't want, Margaret?
Thank you very much, Omar. I'm a Canadian, but I live in Glasgow in Scotland. And Glasgow is twinned with Bethlehem. And we have the Bethlehem Cultural Festival here in the days ahead, mostly this coming weekend. We have a ceremony in Glasgow Cathedral, at which the lighting of the Christmas tree in Bethlehem and the lighting of the one in Glasgow will be shown in sequence. We have a Dabka group who are performing at several events over those days. A Palestinian film festival at our Glasgow Film Theatre, and an evening of spoken words from Palestine, including a local poet, a Palestinian from having come to Scotland from Syria, Iyad Halatle, a well-known poet here and someone who is a regular and generous participant in these events. And I know that there are other ways in which this twinning is exemplified, but at this time of year, people in Glasgow of all backgrounds are invited to become more involved in support for all the good work that you and others are doing. So just wanted you to know that you and Kairos, Palestine particularly, are very much in the hearts and minds, and I hope actions of us here in Scotland. Sending you our love.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much. On a separate note, I visited Edinburgh, when was it? In 2005, and I was a high school student, and I performed, I performed during a school play, during the Fringe Festival, actually. The school play was called Diaries Through the Wall.
Yes.
And
I remember I saw it. I was there. I was on.
You did? Oh, I'm glad. Wow.
Yes,
I'm really
remember
glad.
That.
I'm really glad.
Yes, I remember that well. I'm retired now, but I was teaching at the University of Edinburgh in those days, and involved in Palestinian matters in Edinburgh, in the capital of Scotland, and I do remember that performance very well.
It was a remarkable play, yes, and yeah, it talked about the diaries of Palestinian teenagers or girls during the 40 days of the curfew, which happened in 2003. And the expressions of the young Palestinian girls.
It was very topical and very powerful. And I'm sure everyone who was able to attend will have not forgotten it.
Yes. It was a memorable experience for you.
You're doing.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you.
So, thank you so much. So there's, I mean, it is, there aren't more questions. It has been a pleasure having you with us. There has been a number of videos circulating of the release of Shadi, and I thought of sharing them as a closing, as something that is hopeful. For many of you who know Samia is dancing in one of these videos. So if it's, it's very heartbreaking, but that's the story. Unfortunately, there's 600 Palestinian children in prison, still in prison, who have not been released. So we hope that we continue to remember all Palestinian prisoners in their prayers. And we all Palestinians are under arrest if we're living under military occupation. Please remember the families of the people who were killed by the Israeli army today, the five young people, especially the two brothers from Birzeit University. I mean, it's their, the funeral took place, the funeral prayers took place at Birzeit University, very heartbreaking, with tens of thousands of students and teachers participating. It's not a reality everybody wishes that we're living in, but I mean, that's the penalty of not living under occupation. That's the penalty of wanting to live free. If you want to live free, then you resist, and if you resist, you're going to pay a price. You can live peacefully under oppression, but freedom is costly. So, Mais, before, if you just wait with us for a second, I will share the screen. Hopefully it will work. You will tell me if it's working or not. 1 second, I will see.
Sure.
Let's see it. Sure. 1 second. Can you see the, at least
yes.
okay, so it's
yes.
share sound. Okay, so this is his sister. His sister is a very famous blogger of Shadi. Hi Yasmin. She's on Instagram. But this is when she met him, I mean, yesterday. So it's
ما خلقنا تنعيش بذل وخلقنا نعيش بحرية.
And this is Auntie Samia dancing. This is his mother, Shadi's mother. And this is actually the song that Arabic and his father heard the music. The song that is playing, it's his Arabic teacher wrote as a poem, and his father, who's a musician, who made it as a music song. So I mean, this is Shadi with his sister. Yeah, it's very sad. But he's not released. He's still under home arrest, but still very much resisting and not accepting to be oppressed. So please remember all of the brave people in your prayers. He's a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid. I mean, he shouldn't be fighting this fight. I mean, shame on governments who give Israel impunity. Yes. But thank you, Mais. Thank you all, and hope to see you next week. Next week we have actually a special presentation with our friend Donald, who is going to speak about his story that many of us are aware of, but some of us we don't know enough. There's so many calls for justice, and all of justice is our cause. So God bless you all, and thank you for today. Thank you, Mais, and thank you all for being part of this meeting.
Thank you, Omar, and thank you, everyone. Good to meet you all.